If you were a kid who was given a mobile device before you were old enough to ride a bike, like me, then you probably grew up on mobile games. Modern-day mobile games aren't great, to say the least. They're mostly cash-grab ad machines and follow the same typical gameplay. Of course, there were games like this back in the day, 2013, 2014, when kids getting devices too young was picking up, but the cash grabs were much less common than they are today. Good mobile games were more well-known back then, and actually could follow a story or have a decent layout like a PC or console game. However, most of the more popular ones have been discontinued since, such as Tiny Thief, A Street Cat's Tale, and many more I was never given the chance to play. And as the years continued on, mobile games deformed from story-driven games to what they are now. But then, something happened. In 2020, a small free video game was released to the public. What was it called? Dadish. Dadish is a free and charming little pixel mobile game by Thomas K. Young, who has made other games in the past, like Superphallus and Superphallus 2, but at the time, Dadish was his newest creation.
Side note, this is not sponsored, I just really like this game.
While Dadish doesn't have a heartbreaking storyline like Cats Are Liquid or any PC game like Hollow Knight, what it does have is a cheerful and still engaging story that can cheer you up and make you laugh after a hard day. You play as a radish named Dadish in the game, and start out in a cutscene, watching over a radish patch, with all of your horrible, horrible children running around playing. Once you fall asleep, though, your kids see a balloon and chase after it, running away on their grand adventure all across the world. The moment you wake up, you realize your mistake as a father. And once the cutscene ends, the game begins. It's clear at the start of the game that Dadish is just trying his best. This is the face of a practically single father trying his best. You play in World 1, which is a cutesy little forest-themed map with a total of 10 levels and 7 stars. Stars are the little tokens you can collect each level if you find them. All levels, minus the first 2 levels from the game, and the boss levels in each world, have stars in them. And a neat feature in the game is that it makes you think that stars will be a simple extra puzzle for the whole game, and then in World 2, boom! They're hidden all around the levels. And you have to do trust falls to find some of them, some of which are really hard to even locate. Stars have no purpose other than being a little challenge, and they aren't required to beat the game in any way, but they add a nice little bonus that I appreciate. Your kids in World 1 set the picture for the type of dialogue you'll be getting in the game, and full-on went for the humorous path over a serious one. As you continue doing little bits of parkour here and there and solving puzzles to unlock walls, you eventually get to level 8. And, I love this guy. He shows up several times throughout the games and practically just screams at you. He says very little, if anything at all, and most of it is just screaming. The first boss in the game is in level 10, and his name is Burglar. Sure, Burglar. And he says he's the third henchman to someone named Lord Durnak. Huh, weird. Neat name, though. I'm sure that won't come up anytime later. Hey, have you seen any of my kids? You know, tiny versions of me. No? Wait, I'm just looking for my kids. I don't care about the Oh, what? No, please don't threaten me. Oh, we're fighting now, okay. The fight is fairly easy, and all you have to do is jump over the boss and press a button that will open up spikes for him to fall into. Don't run into him, and don't try to jump over him when he's walking away from you, and you'll be fine. After each attack, he gets a little faster, but it's easy enough to handle. After 3 hits with spikes, he falls to the floor and loses all of his accessories, including a key you can pick up to free your kid. Congratulations! You've just killed a man! You get your kid and go to the next world. World 2 starts up with what at first could be thought to be a desert world, but turns out to be a beach. World 2 has another 10 levels, and sadly no possum levels, but what it does have in exchange is a total of 9 stars. One of my favorites being in level 15, because even though it's a pain to accidentally press on the tile you're meant to ignore, it's still a very neat idea for a puzzle. As the game continues, the levels get a little harder, and I died a few times trying to get through, but eventually you'll end up at level 20 for the second boss fight. The boss begins speaking and hot dog. His name is Hot Dog. Even Dadish is confused, and he says that he's the second henchman to Lord Durnak. They waste no time in jumping at Dadish for murder though, so maybe it's okay his parents hated him. The boss is a little trickier as your attacks have to be timed properly or you won't hit him, and he jumps on top of you quickly, so jumping is out of the question entirely. But it's important to get used to the controls of dodging jumping bosses because the final boss may just have the same ability. His jumps get a little wider with each attack, and it takes 4 hits to take him down. But once you're done, Dadish can use his body as a trampoline. Have you no guilt for your actions, Dadish? You get the key, and World 2 is over.
As you enter World 3, a nice little snowy mountain it seems, you realize the sudden jump in difficulty. The parkour is timed now, and a lot of the danger comes from not being fast enough. The ice spikes can be a real pain to get through, too. Eventually you wander around until you hit a level, though, and oh my gosh, the possum's back! Hey bud, how's... I see. World 3 can go by quickly if you're dedicated, and some of the stars are really fun to collect. But if you get game rage easily, I suggest taking a break here and there between levels. At level 30, the boss appears.
Oh, you look lovely, giant fry box.
Her name is Sharon. She threatens you again, claiming to be the first and final henchman to Lord Durnak. Perhaps we'll get to meet this fellow soon. Oh, right. Death time. You have to use a hammer to slam her into the ground 5 times, but the main issue with her is the jumping. You have to double jump over her, and she follows you at different distances. So, if you can't double jump fast enough, she'll run into you. Also, Sharon, honey, brush your teeth, girl. Once you get her downed, you can't use her as a tramp. Oh, I stand mistaken. With Sharon defeated and your kid rescued, it's time for the final and hardest world, World 4.
World 4 is the biggest challenge yet. It opens up calm and quiet with a pretty starry sky in the background. Dadish finds himself in a castle, Lord Durnak's castle, filled with saw blades and balloons. The vibe is eerie and empty with a hint of danger, but you wander through the spikes and sharp saw blades with care as you reach level 39. The final challenge Dadish will have to face before he faces Lord Durnak himself, a timed level. It takes patience, time, and a lot of retries, but once you make it past, you fall down into the arena of level 40 to face Lord He's a Coke! Oh my gosh, I love this game! He introduces himself first with an apology for how his henchman treated you before and asks you a favor. Dadish, being the merciful and kind-hearted dad he is, agrees. But then he learns what the favor is. Gosh dang it, I have to commit another murder. You have to lead Durnak to spikes and smash his glass bottle as he leaps after you, getting faster and faster with each hit. And don't worry, because it won't take 3 hits to kill him. No, it takes 4. Because glass is stronger than metal, sometimes. As you beat him, you get the final key and talk to your last kid, explaining how you're just excited to get home. You leap off into the air, and the end credits play in a sweet cutscene. Overall, I adore this game. It's very dear to my heart for several reasons, but one of them is simply the memories it gave me laughing at the dialogue with a friend. Dadish is a wonderfully made and loved little platformer, and before you start ranting about advertisements and the like, I want to make a few things clear. Number 1, Dadish is an offline game. You don't need Wi-Fi to play it. It's good for long drives or journeys. And 2, all of the advertisements I encountered were skippable within 2 seconds anyways. It's clear that the creator really just wants you to enjoy their game, and if you do end up playing the game even after I talked about the whole thing, which I do recommend, the dialogue from the kids is just top-notch dad joke humor, and there's a neat little surprise if you get a star in every level. But I'd also want to recommend something else. You see, Dadish is not a one-time thing. No. There's 4 other games! And they each get better in quality and plot each time. So no, don't play Dadish. Play all 5 Dadish games, and then come talk to me about them. Because, believe me when I say, you won't regret it. Oh my god, this took so long. Why did I make this?